Okay, fam. I think we're back. I think we're back. Did we all make it? We're gonna see. Yes, looks like we did. Okay. Okay. Welcome, welcome, fam. Welcome, welcome. I want to just get straight into it because this is really stupid. Let me do this and we'll make it happen. Anyway, hi everybody. We're back. We're rocking and rolling. It's gonna be good. Kind of back to normal. Back to normal. Ugh. Okay. Let me pull up the browser and the pinned tweet that I had. There we go. Okay, pinned. Okay. Here we are. This is okay. I'm just gonna get into it. Let's just talk about it right off the rip. New segment. I'm taking the bait. Someone help. There you go. I'm gonna be real, fam. I struggle with this. I struggle because this is like so stupid, and I know what it is. I know this is rage bait. I know that's all it is. But we gotta talk about it, and I kind of want to see just how stupid it is. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about it. The savants of gaming, the game journalism outlet that everybody respects the most, Polygon, has come out with an article describing 8 years later, let's all admit Red Dead Redemption 2 is a terrible game. Now, I think Nick Tech puts it well. So here's the thing. Okay. These types of articles are very common in the industry nowadays. They are literally like rage bait. They are not like they're basically trying to say something inflammatory to get you to react so that you click on the link and that they get their little bit of ad revenue. And it's generally worth it because there's sort of like a no-name author that's involved with it. So it's not like, you know, they don't lose anything, right? Like if it's posted by like me, I might lose something if the video does terribly, or if the article is like really bad, or whatever I put together is really bad. It could affect my reputation and my standing within the industry. But when it's just some writer that you've never heard of before that works on a contracted basis, like Polygon's brand takes a hit, sure, but they don't really care that much. Like I don't think it really matters. So I know that this is rage bait. I understand that. I want to be clear about it at the outset, but I do want to look at it. Now, the way I'm going to look at it is with an archived link. Archived links are great because it basically just takes a screen cap of the article and then it doesn't pay them ad revenue for it, which is like the ultimate way of dealing with this type of thing. Because you can look at it, see the stupidness, and then you don't end up giving them any money. So that's how we're going to do it today. Now, to be fair though, to be fully fair, I'm going to look at what they say. We're going to give them a chance to convince me. And if the article is actually really good, I will load the actual webpage and I will give them the ad revenue for clicking on the link. But I don't want to do that unless it's good. Okay. Problem solved. So let's see what this is. Again, inflammatory title, especially for a game that many, if not most people in the industry consider to be one of the greatest games of all time. It's a bold take. 8 years later, it's time to admit that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a terrible game. The gaming equivalent of watching paint dry. Okay, hold on. We're going to do a little research. This article was written by Ford James, UK-based freelance games writer at Polygon. He also bylines at industry-leading outlets, including Games Radar, Eurogamer, PC Gamer, and more. Okay, he mostly writes about FPS games, as such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Arc Raiders. Okay. Yep. Tracking. Tracking. This is making sense. Forza Horizon 6 stuff. Updates on Mario Kart. Okay. Looks like just general contract work. I honestly, transparently, I don't know how much these guys get paid for these types of articles. I don't know if it's like $25 a piece, if it's $50 a piece, but these guys have to pump out a lot of content to make a living doing this. And they pump it out. They sure do. Squeeze it out, pinch it out with this article, at least. Let's see. Let's give him a fair shake. Let's read it. Okay. Quote, I was, as the kids say, gassed. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. When I finally got my hands on Red Dead Redemption 2. At the time, I was writing for a now defunct video game website. He's just moving from one to the next, just slowly. Slowly just chopping it down at the knees. Let's see. Hopefully nothing bad happens this time. And in celebration of one of the most anticipated games of all time launching, we were given the day off. In hindsight, with 8 years of industry experience under my belt, that's a baffling decision, but I wasn't complaining at the time. Unfortunately, within a few hours of slogging through the snow, setting up camp at Horseshoe Overlook, and discovering Valentine, I was bored out of my skull. Where were the battle passes? I'm sorry. We're trying to give it a fair shake. I'm sorry. Okay. Listen, I'm not just hating to be contrarian for the sake of it. I wanted to love the game. The original Red Dead Redemption had me weeping during that unforgettable, devastating final scene. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of my all-time favorites too. So I was all set for Rockstar's next major outing to blow me away. Arguably, it did, but not in the way I was expecting. At the time, Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of the most detailed games I'd ever played. The world felt alive, the story was gripping, the characters were entertaining, personable, and sometimes even relatable. And technically, it's a masterpiece. Take hunting, for example, 178 different kinds of animals, each with different habitats and behaviors, and many of them require bait to attract them while you lie wait. Dude, am I reading into it too much that he throws out bait? Like, am I reading into it too much? Or is he like acknowledging that this is rage bait? I don't know, it might be it might be rage bait. I don't know. I mean, I think it is, but I don't know how aware of it he is. The problem is that with Rockstar leaning so far into realism, Red Dead Redemption 2 may be impressive, but it isn't fun. The easiest way to do these types of articles, fun, and then right here you insert for me. These types of like declarative statements are what are going to get you torn apart. Slowly following the scent of a bear, setting a trap, then hiding in a bush for minutes on end isn't engaging gameplay. I mean, it is though. It is. Like engaging, hold on. Engaging tending to draw favorable attention or interest. So it draws, this is like not how it's typically used, but like engaging specifically, like an engaging activity is one that holds your interest, that draws your interest. So if you are setting traps and then you're paying attention, waiting for the bear to come, it is engaging. Is it like Call of Duty slop that's going to keep you like every 5 seconds a bell rings and then like sparklers go off? No, but I think that's not engaging is what you're looking for. I think you're looking for like ADHD, like TikTok brain, you know? Like, I think that's what you're looking for. Another example is that looting is astoundingly detailed. The ability to search through every individual drawer and the fact that the game doesn't just open an inventory screen in its UI is commendable, but it takes so long. Various core mechanics of the game are nothing short of clunky too. Take riding a horse, for example. I'm not expecting the same level of precision I'd find when driving a car in GTA 5, which is funny because GTA 5 has like a super arcadey like driving system. It's actually something that we're anticipating like is going to be a bit of a system shock for GTA fans. Because if you've seen like GTA 5 or GTA Online, let's see if I can find it. Like, have you seen what you can do in like motorcycles? If you flip upside down, the game calculates a lift. So if you flip upside down, you can just straight up fly across the map. Like, does this look realistic? Does this look realistic to you? Does this look like, no, it's not tight. This isn't tight controls. I don't know what this is, but this is how it works. So like, again, I don't think I would agree that even GTA 5 has tight controls, but, or precision. Sorry, he used the term precision. Has precision controls. It's a live animal with legs instead of wheels after all, but I would expect the game's primary transport method to be relatively smooth. And while it is easy going across flat open terrain, making sharp turns, riding across narrow paths, or engaging in combat while on horseback is often frustrating. I don't think it is difficult to control the horse. Did any of you, show of hands? You're in chat. Show of chat. Does anybody find it difficult to control the horse in Red Dead? I don't think I've ever thought it was difficult to control a horse in Red Dead. Like I feel like he's yelling at clouds. Like what am I missing something? I don't think it's difficult to control the horse and like. Okay, anyway, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Well, we'll just leave the article there. I think we'll just leave it there. Maybe I'm the problem. Being unable to keep my attention on the game during these slower moments is most likely a symptom of my ADHD. ADHD is a thing. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. I'm not interested in getting like diagnosed. I mean, you just have to watch the stream for 2 minutes and I feel like you can figure out pretty quickly what's going on up here, you know? Chaos. But even with that, like, even if I do have ADHD tendencies or whatever, I have tried very hard to challenge myself with that. So for narrative games, I sit and I focus on it. For games of chess, I will sit and focus on the game. Growing up, I was like, I had worked so hard at increasing my attention span that at chess tournaments, my like they would jokingly call me the boa constrictor, the people on my chess team, because yes, I was in the chess club and I was the team captain. Yeah, sure was. Who's laughing now? Maybe that's what we need to do with Todd, is do a chess match. Maybe we'll do that. I wonder. Did Todd ever say if he played in chess tournaments? I'm not actually sure. I wonder if we could find his rating or something. Anyway, that's beside the, see, ADHD. I'm proving it positive right now. But with that, like they called me the boa constrictor because I could focus for so long. So I was be playing against these like 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids that were my same age. But while they were squirming in their seats, ready to like leave and go play football outside, I was fine with using the full-time control and spending 6 hours on one game. Like, I was fine with that. So I would slowly squeeze out all of their energy and just destroy them. You know, just destroy them. It was great. Just suffocate them slowly. And that is something I had to work towards. And with Red Dead 2, it's one of those things where, like, once you give yourself over to the slower pace, because it does absolutely have a slower pace, you will have an exceptionally amazing time. But you have to be willing to like meet the game where it is for what it is. And what it is like a truly immersive game. It's the same exact thing with like Kingdom Come Deliverance as a franchise. Once you give yourself over to living in Bohemia, living in the medieval era, going collecting food, hunting, you know, needing to bathe, once you give yourself over to it, you will have one of the most incredibly immersive times in that world that you could possibly have in any sort of video game. It's truly, truly incredible. But you have to put in the effort to give yourself over to it. And whenever I hear stories like this, it's always one particular type of person like this that tends to be like, yeah, Red Dead sucks. And it's because they just wanted constant dopamine drips. And then they think the game is bad because they weren't willing to like try to meet it where it was at. Let me see if I can find this one clip. I found there was one that was freaking hilarious. I don't remember how to find. I'll try to find it. I'm beside the point. I'm getting distracted again. Continuing. When's your bedtime? It's supposed to be at like 11 p.m. But I've been staying up. Last night I was up to like 3. That's a big oopsie. Anyway, so it's likely a symptom of my ADHD, but in an era when so many people have shorter attention spans anyway, due to short form content consumption and the sheer breadth of entertainment and media available, I think Red Dead 2 falls on the wrong side of the line. So you want it to be more like that? Let's read this whole thing again, because what it sounds like to me is that he's saying, maybe I'm the problem, I have ADHD, but a lot of other people have short attention spans because of TikTok. And that's why I think Red Dead 2 should be like catering to us more, like to tighter attention spans. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem. Being unable to keep my attention on the game during these slower moments is most likely a symptom of my ADHD, but in an era when so many people have shorter attention spans anyway, due to short form content consumption and the sheer breadth of entertainment and media available, I think Red Dead 2 falls on the wrong side of the line. So you think it should be more like that? Bro, that hurts. That's so not right. That's so wrong. I find that personally offensive. With GTA 6 coming before the end of the year, I can only hope that Rockstar dials back the realism a touch. Their flagship series has always been much more comical and over the top than its cowboy-themed sibling, and since it's set in the modern era, the world will be moving at a faster pace anyway. But finding that balance between entertainment and realism will be crucial. I'd love to give Red Dead Redemption 2 another go, time permitting. As I say, I think it's a wonderfully crafted game, but by and large, I play games to enjoy myself. Red Dead 2's mechanics, while spectacularly realistic, are far too cumbersome. Since it launched as a console exclusive, I also haven't revisited it on PC. With a mouse and keyboard and maybe a few mods installed to improve the experience, perhaps I'll finally understand why it's considered by so many to be one of the best games of all time. For now, the most I can say is that it's one of the best technical achievements of all time, but it's not a very good video game. For you, in my opinion, personally, these modifiers could go a long way, because making declarative statements like that are just unhinged, especially when you're pairing it with requests that you think it should be it should have been designed in a way that caters to short attention spans and short form content and ADHD brain. I mean, that's or ADHD, TikTok brain. Literally, that's what it is. I fundamentally disagree. Call of Duty has been designed for those quick little dopamine rushes, and as has like Fortnite, as are mobile games, and like those are the games that are built in that way to like truly take advantage of the tight attention spans. You do not have anywhere near the same emotional connection, the same sort of immersive connection in those games, certainly, as you do in Red Dead 2. Part of what makes Red Dead 2 work, in my opinion, is its slower, more methodical pace, is the very real intentional choice on their part to put you in the world and let you slowly and methodically work your way through it and explore it and go on little adventures. And even when you go and like you decide, I'm going to go do something for myself, you go out to go hunting. And like he pointed out, you're going to go set a trap. You're going to wait in the bushes. You're going to take your time, listen to the wildlife and stuff. It is moments of quiet. But it's that contrast that makes it work, right? Like it's that you have the blank areas of canvas that contrast with the carefully designed and heavily painted and worked on sections of the canvas that give the image its dynamism. You know, you have to have the contrast of the quiet with the intensity for it to work. And what he wants is just pure intensity all the time. And it's like, I'm very glad that they didn't go with that. I think a lot of these types of games benefit from being more methodical and slower. And I think that that's why a lot of people that don't typically connect with modern games connected with Red Dead 2. It's because it wasn't trying to be Call of Duty. It wasn't trying to be Fortnite. It wasn't trying to be Candy Crush. It was what it was. At that, you know, in that same vein, I think that's why people like this individual don't like it. It's why they didn't connect with it, because it was not trying to cater to them. And when you, what's the old saying? It's like when you are used to privilege, equal treatment feels like oppression. That's kind of what this is reminding me of.
So just cause people like mangas means no one should ever write a novel again?
Well, and they shouldn't write the novel. The novels should be written like a manga, and novels suck. Full stop. That's basically what the argument is I don't like novels. I like manga. I want this novel to be more like manga. It should have been more like manga, and all novels suck. It's just insane. Like it's just crazy. It's just wild. Overall, I think you don't have to like Red Dead 2. It's the declarative, like, conclusive statements being like, yeah, I think it's not a very good video game. You don't have to like it, but you can still acknowledge it. Like, what's another game that's like, well, maybe Death Stranding's an example of a game that's like, I think it's a good video game. If people say, I just don't like it, I don't like hiking, and like, I don't like the delivery simulator stuff, and the story is too convoluted, that is one that's like totally fair to say. Also, by the way, Loser Duck, I just realized that's $50. That's insane. Thank you. That's incredibly generous. My goodness. Thank you. Very generous. My goodness. So you don't have to like the game. Like, and there's games that you can acknowledge are like good or that are solid games, but they're just not for you, you know? Like, there's a lot of survival games like The Forest, or maybe you could point to like Valheim or something, where like I'll play them for a bit, but they're not my end all be all. You know, they're not like the ultimate game for me. I can understand why people love them and spend hundreds of hours in them, but it's not my kind of thing. But I would never say that that's a bad game, you know? Like, I just wouldn't do that. But that brings us back to like the point at the beginning of this, which is that these types of articles are very intentionally phrased this way for clickbait, for rage bait. 8 years later, it's time to admit that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a terrible game. The argument in the article is that he has ADHD and the game is too slow and methodical for him. So the actual title of the article probably should be 8 years later, I still can't finish Red Dead 2 because it's too slow and it's just not for me. No one would have a problem with that title. That'd be totally fair. Totally fine. It's the framing of it's a terrible game. Like it is clickbait. It's pure clickbait, and it's stupid and annoying. And this is why, well, this is just one of the reasons why people don't really take games media that seriously anymore. And it's because like they engage with this. It used to be that like the YouTube crowd were the ones doing the craziest clickbait. It feels like now the most rage bait and clickbaity crap comes from TikTok. And then also it comes from games media, which is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Guy says, I think it was like 2014. Yeah. Like this. 2017, this guy was saying he already had GTA 6.
And the same thing can be said about the back. But here's the back so far. Here it says Rockstar Games presents a Rockstar North production. Welcome to the sunny state. Oh dear. Includes Grand Theft Auto Online. So you guys already know that it's going to have an online version, which is confirmed. And here's the little pictures right here. Oh god, I'm very excited. Holy crap. Okay, so
236,000 likes. It still blows my mind. Anyway, I think it's just like the only way to deal and like push back against this type of crap with like rage bait, clickbait articles is to call it out when you see it, make fun of it, and then like try to punish the outlet as best you can. So like Eurogamer wrote some insane articles about KCD2. And so I blocked them. And you'll notice we haven't looked at Eurogamer stuff. You know, we just stopped because it's like, okay, well, we're not going to engage with them anymore because it's bad. It's real bad. Same thing with like those people that wrote that hit piece at IGN about Black Myth Wukong, and one of their arguments for why the studio was sexist was because the logo for Game Science looked somewhat like a sperm, and this was like a sign that the game studio was sexist. Like, I'm not even joking. We looked at it. Like, IGN's article literally was arguing that this was sexist. I was like, for one, it's like a particle effect from one of their other games. That's what it is, but it's not a sperm. Even if it was a sperm, what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that, like, if this was a picture of fallopian tubes, that would be anti-male? Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's just insane. It's just insane. But for that, like, okay, we're gonna go block all the people that wrote that article because clearly they're insane. Like, they don't know what they're doing. We're just not gonna engage with that. I still don't know why they have a sperm logo. Honestly, at this point, if I were them, I would just, for like the next sizzle reel, I would just have like an ocean of these things, like shoot in with a white cloud, and then like one emerges victorious over all the others. Just like really lean into it. I think that'd be funny. Anyway, yeah, the old or the way I think to deal with it is to just block, don't engage, and make fun of it. That's the way to do it. Make fun of it. What do I think about Crimson Desert now after all of its updates, says Phantom? I think it's really impressive. I keep wanting to do a video. I start working on the video, going through all the updates, and then they drop another update that adds a bunch more stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're starting over. Like, it's just, they are built different, dude. They're just built different. It's hard to even describe to people who are not privy to like video games and like how these things typically work, but like seriously, it's outrageous how hardcore they are. They just pump this stuff out like it's nothing. It's outrageous. Let's see. Captain Do, also thank you for the sub. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Let's see. Oh right, I was gonna check this. Oh, I was gonna try to be sneaky. No, I was trying to be sneaky and try to find Todd Howard's rating if he played tournaments at the USCF or something, but I don't see it. Todd said he was in the chess club, but he never said he played in tournaments, I don't think. I was gonna see if I could figure out what his rating is. Maybe we like pitch to him, do like a charity thing where we try to raise money. We play chess against each other. That could be fun. I don't think he'd do it, but maybe. You never know. I think it'd be fun. Anyway, we'll see. Let's see. I'm only like 100 hours in. Still, I've seen like 50% of the map in Crimson Desert. Dude, it's outrageous. It's like crazy. It's actually a little ridiculous. But and there's good reason to think they may be adding like additional stuff. They may be adding additional like expansions and map stuff. I mean, they're working on a DLC, so we know they're doing that. But yeah. Real quick, just to let you guys know, for people who are members and Twitch subs, check the Discord if you haven't already. Twitch subs have access to the members only video for this week, as do members on YouTube. You guys get access to it already. It is in the members only tab. This week's video, just so you're aware, is my story time on how I hated my most successful video ever, and I almost didn't publish it at all. Just a fun little background story of my biggest video of all time and how it almost was deleted in a rage. So if you want to hear that story time, go check that out. First, before we move on, I want to look at this. Okay? I want to hear your thoughts on this too. Okay. Let's talk about this. Players Archive, thank you. How do I access it? In the members /sub Discord, there is a channel that Trevor is running that has the link to the video. You'll see it in there, okay? Okay. Once you're in the server, you should be able to see it. If you don't, just tag a mod and we can make sure your permissions are right, but you should be able to see it. It's in there. Zeke, thank you for the 10. Very generous. I think it's a lot easier for them to increase their impressions with rage bait than it is to make honest content and chase current gaming news within viewer interest time spans. I agree. It is definitely easier. The problem for games media in general now is that they very much they're in a really tough spot because games, well, just all of gaming discourse now is shifting towards personalities, and personalities are fickle. You know, personalities will move to a new place or new outlet that pays them more. A single personality, if they become really successful, will just leave and go solo, become a YouTuber or streamer or whatever. So if they have one person that's like driving a lot of interest and traffic to the website, unless they are an owner of the website, they are probably going to leave. And that doesn't work. So that's a weakness for them, is that they don't have any singular individuals that can really drive a lot of interest in their platform. But the way that they got around it is by trying to reclaim that as a strength. So now they use the fact that nobody knows the writers for the websites, and they try to rework that as a strength to be like, oh, well, now we can have them go and write articles, and they can be outrageous, they can be rage baity, but we can basically hand wave it away because there's nobody will recognize them. They'll still come back to our website because they don't know the person that wrote it. We can get away with it, which is interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, and if you are a member, to be clear, if you're a member, it's just on the channel page. There's a tab that's called members, and you just click it there, and it's all in there. So there you go. There you go. Okay. Let's talk about this. This video was recommended to me by one of you guys, and I figured we would check it out. I figure we should check it out, okay? New segment. Here we go. So one of you guys sent me this video, said that this was an interesting discussion on Naughty Dog, what's going on there. And it's a video simply titled The Lost Studio. I'm intrigued. This is a video from Major Trenton, 19.3K subs. Let's get him to 20. We can do that. Let's check it out, see what he's got to say, and let's see why one of you guys recommended it to me. I believe it was Ethan sent this over. Thank you, Ethan. Dude, Uncharted music is a vibe.
From Jak and Daxter to Uncharted, Naughty Dog has made beloved games for many years. One thing many of these games had in common was the focus on gameplay and action. In many ways, Naughty Dog's philosophy was that they simply wanted to make fun video games. Though Uncharted 1 through 3 began focusing more on story and storytelling, at the end of the day they were all fun action-adventure games. However, after Uncharted 3, it was the release of The Last of Us in 2013 that cemented Naughty Dog as one of the best studios in the entire industry. This is where Naughty Dog's philosophy began to truly shift. Now, Naughty Dog was no longer satisfied simply making fun adventure games with good dialogue and characters. The Last of Us represented their new philosophy, which was a heavy emphasis on story and storytelling. This then ultimately had an effect for how Naughty Dog would make its next game.
My theory for a lot of this, and this is why I think PlayStation especially is totally freaking screwed for the next 5 to 10 years. I believe that one of the amazing things about the PS4 generation, including The Last of Us right before, and then Uncharted 4 in the PS4 generation, Last of Us Part 2 at the end of it. One of their strengths was that gamers were maturing out of the campy arcadey games at the precise moment when they started dropping these more grounded, gritty, serious games. And that's true of not just Naughty Dog's games, but even Santa Monica did that as well. And I think what it was is that there were a lot of people who were young, maybe, kids or teenagers, or even like early 20s, but in that younger demo, when the 360 PS3 era was at its peak, they were kids that became fans of these franchises. And then as those players matured and started looking for more serious subject matter, the studios grew up with them, right? Like the studios developed more serious, more grounded games to meet them where they were at. And so you kind of grew up with the studio. The reason why I think PlayStation is screwed is because they've abandoned my child. They've abandoned the children, which I grant you sounds like something they probably should do anyways. But I feel like there's not much effort from like big companies like PlayStation or Xbox to go after the younger generation. They've just kind of given up on them and like decided, Roblox has them, Fortnite has them. So they're not getting this like built-in fan base of kids that grew up playing God of War, grew up playing Gears of War, grew up playing Halo, grew up playing Jak and Daxter. Like they don't have that anymore. All those kids now are playing Roblox and Fortnite. And I think that's going to cause a serious issue as we get to this next point where those players are supposed to be maturing out of those games into like the next phase of games. Because they're totally outside the fence. It's not like they're inside and they're ready for the next step. They're just on a different compound, you know? There's not really any games like that anymore anyways. Well, exactly. That's my point, is that it's major publishers, and then it's also the hardware, like first party stuff. They've given up on the younger generation and just given them over to Fortnite and Roblox, and that's going to cause issues. But I do think that is one of the reasons why Naughty Dog kind of developed the way that it did, is that it started with like some kind of campy games, silly games. Even Uncharted, pretty campy and silly, very much a product of its time, Nazi zombies and the like. But as they started to mature and get more serious, fans connected with it and loved it. But it does raise the question, like, where do you go from there? Where do you mature out of misery porn that is The Last of Us Part 2? Where do you go from there? I don't know.
When making the next Uncharted game, it was obvious that simply making a fun game with good storytelling was no longer enough for Naughty Dog. Uncharted 4 took notes from The Last of Us in many ways. It became the longest Uncharted game they had ever made, while having a larger emphasis on story, cinematics, and technical prowess. You could tell Naughty Dog really focused on its storytelling and characters more than ever in Uncharted 4. This mix of high-quality story and fun action gameplay obviously worked extremely well, with Uncharted 4 being one of the best in the series. But it was after Uncharted 4 that Naughty Dog's philosophy had fully changed to what it is now. They were no longer going to be a gameplay-first studio as they had originally been, or even a story-first studio as they were in Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us. Naughty Dog became focused, well, more like obsessed, on the presentation of their games.
And the misery. So I really liked the original Outlast. The second Outlast, I don't know if you guys played it. It was like one of those games, if the way I described it, it's like they went through the studio. They asked everybody to write down on a Post-it note the most horrible thing they could think of. And then fold it up, put it in the bucket. Then they take the bucket and like, okay, guys, we're now going to design the game. It's all of this. We're not even picking out individual. We're just going to do all of the worst stuff you can think of. Like, oh, you're hiking through, you find a dead child. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, what if there's a pit full of dead babies you have to walk across? Okay, yeah, let's do that. It's just like horrible. It was just horrible. And the same thing happened with The Last of Us Part 2, I feel, where it just got to the point where it was like, okay, yeah, that's bad. And they're like, what if she's pregnant too? Sure, yeah, have her kill the pregnant lady. Why not? That sounds great. What else can we do to make it horrible? Gurgle? Yeah, we'll have her gurgle as she dies. Great. Any other ideas? Like, it just was like, what? It was so miserable. It's why the other way in my 5-hour breakdown of the game, the other way I described it is that it is an emotionally devastating and draining isn't even the right word for it. It is so emotionally exhausting that by the time you're done with The Last of Us Part 2, even if you loved it, you are just so done. Like, you're so done with it because it's just miserable after miserable after miserable development. Even when you're like, okay, things are going to end well. It's like, nope. Now she runs away and leaves her family behind. And now she's got PTSD. And oops, she was just captured by slave traders. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Like, it's insane. And that's where I'm like genuinely curious. Where do they go? Like, where does this end up for Intergalactic? You know, is it going to be the same tone? Is it going to be the same vibe of just miserable? Or are they going to try to do something else? I'm hoping it's a little more retro, a little more, I don't know about lighthearted, but it's just not misery porn. But I guess we're going to see.
Back, it was not a surprise. The Last of Us on PS3 and Uncharted 4 on PS4 were jaw-dropping on a technical level. So Naughty Dog had been emphasizing graphics and tech more and more as time went on. The Last of Us 2 represented this new focus of theirs. The game itself was still narrative heavy, while the combat was simple, yet still fun and visceral. But when it came to the game's presentation, it was unmatched. It was a technical marvel, and it's clear that's where most of the development time went to. Last of Us 2 pushed the PS4 to its absolute limits with extremely high fidelity graphics while maintaining a smooth frame rate. Then there was the high level of detail. Whether it was the physics on a cable during a puzzle, seamless animations during combat, or environmental detail, it was all flawless. This kind of presentation was nearly unrivaled when it released, and to this day, very few games come close to what Naughty Dog did on a technical level with The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, no ray tracing needed either. No ray tracing needed either. All of that rasterized with like pretty clever lighting tricks and baked lighting and stuff. It's absolutely incredible. This is just, it goes to show you, this is why I think a lot of gamers are frustrated, is that it feels like they achieved this shot in 2020 on last gen hardware. And it's now been 6 years. We have a pro variant, we have a next generation console, we have ray tracing, path tracing, all this. You're hard pressed to think of a game that looks better as consistently across the board than The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, it really is remarkable. And I'm sure that Intergalactic is also going to be like graphically and in terms of presentation stunning. I'm sure it's going to be incredible, but that's part of the frustration, is that we just haven't gotten that. You know, it's been 6 years and we've seen a trailer, but like no gameplay or anything.
However, this lies the problem. What happens when you're Naughty Dog and you need to maintain or elevate this standard you've set when it comes to presentation?
What
is going to happen?
Make it multiplayer and make it lame. Maybe we do
This
that.
obsession. What is the cost? The cost is what's happening now and what happened with The Last of Us 2. Part 2 released in 2020 and is the last Naughty Dog game that's released. At the time, the reported budget of the game was $220 million. Let that sink in for a second. A linear 25-hour experience with a couple open areas cost $220 million. With Intergalactic, director Neil Druckmann has said it will be the most expansive and most ambitious game Naughty Dog's ever made.
Yeah, and the leaks suggest it's been designed with a lot of learnings and inspirations taken from Elden Ring. Figure that one out. But my expectation is that it's going to basically be like massive areas where you're just left to run around and explore. Like it's not going to be totally linear like The Last of Us was. It's going to be much, much more open-ended in terms of broad approach, which is going to be interesting. But like right around the time that Elden Ring dropped and Neil Druckmann was being interviewed about like design philosophy, what interests him in the industry right now, he kept doing interviews saying, I'm really interested in environmental storytelling in the likes of Elden Ring and those types of games. Leaks came out around that time suggesting, hey, it looks like the game's really similar to Elden Ring. It's pretty exciting, and the leaks have all been overwhelmingly positive. But it's just like, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be massive. Absolutely. Let's see. I hear what you're saying, says Detective Toast. I hear what you're saying about parents not buying them consoles, but these children exist. They are a market that's linked to the Apple system. Do you think Apple will do anything with that in the future? Oh, you mean for like mobile games and like Roblox and stuff. They are attached to their phones and those devices. I've said for like a long time that I think Apple is the sleeping giant that if they wake up and decide to try in the gaming space could change the industry forever in a good way, especially under the new CEO, Mark Turnus. I think they actually could see a major shift in a good way. But we'll just have to see. Who knows?
If that linear Last of Us 2 cost as much as it did, what is a larger, more open game like Intergalactic going to cost? A game that's been in development for at least 7 years by the time it releases. Druckmann has already told us it will likely be more expensive than Part 2, but I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
My point is this. The cost of Naughty Dog's obsession with this tech and industry-leading presentation is a bunch of time and money. In the amount of time it will take Naughty Dog to release one game, other major studios would have released 2 or even 3 titles. At this point, Naughty Dog is not in a great place right now.
But it is important to acknowledge that 4 years or whatever of that time, they were spending on a live service game that was canned. That was dumped. So it is true that they've been working on it for 7 years, but it's most likely that from like 2020 through 2024, the team working on Intergalactic was quite small. Most of the team was working on the live service project, and that when that got canceled, a lot of those people had to figure out what they were going to do now because, you know, things got shifted around. Brody, thank you for that. 5. All my favorite games are PlayStation exclusives. They do it different. Clear beginning, middle, and end is ideal for me. The system's graphics are crazy. Yeah, I mean, when they're actually doing it, when they're not pumping out live service crap that nobody wants. Hopefully they can get back on track. Drayman, thank you for the 10. It's probably been said already, but it's kind of wild how Don Matrick was low-key a visionary for the direction of the industry. I don't say that as a compliment. It is tragic. Yeah, well, I think that he was just foolish enough to think he could get away with it in 2019 while they were on the back foot. What Sony decided to do was wait to make the moves for like digital only and no used copies. They just waited to do that until the market had shifted that way for sake of convenience. And now they're trying to take advantage of that and utilize that to the best extent that they can. Which, I mean, it's probably the best way to do it. If they tried to do it in 2018, there would have been way more blowback. But doing it in 2026, after COVID, you can now say, well, 90% of you already buy digital exclusively. So why would we need to throw a fit? That's what they're counting on, you know? But I do agree. This was always what they wanted to do. It was just a matter of how do we get away with it. And Sony thinks now is the time they can get away with it.
Even if you loved The Last of Us 2, the fact is the game was divisive, with millions of fans loving it and millions not liking it.
Yep.
As of a couple years ago, it sold over 10 million units. A huge number, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, the original Last of Us has sold over 18 million copies, with it allegedly being much higher now. For reference, this did not happen with the Uncharted series, which sold more and more with each installment.
To be fair, and this has been a debate for a while, like the performance of sequels in context of like the gaming space, because for a lot of franchises you would expect the sequel to do just as well as the first game, but maybe not better, you know, like Horizon Zero Dawn versus Horizon Forbidden West. That's a franchise I think you could jump into either one and probably be fine, but most people would still expect the first game to have sold better, right? For Uncharted, this is a franchise that's so old. I think the first game was 2007, I want to say. That by the time you go 2007 to... Oh my God, do you want to... Oh, I just fried my brain. You want to know what I just realized? Drake's Fortune launches in 2007. Uncharted 2, I think, was 2009. Uncharted 3, 2011. Uncharted 4, 2016. In 9 years, they put out 4 Uncharted games. It's been 10 since Uncharted 4. In the time since Uncharted 4, they put out Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, poop. Well put. Oh, yeah. And Legacy was in 2017. So you could count that in here as well, because that would be 10 years from 2007 to 2017. So in 10 years, they technically put out 5 games in the time we've been waiting since Uncharted 4. That's crazy, man. That's wild. Yeah, the PSP game. That PSP game was made by Sony Bend. Was it Golden Abyss or something like that? Yeah, Sony Bend, the guys that did Days Gone. That's where they got started, I believe. But absolutely wild. What was I even saying before that? Oh, sequels. Yeah. So obviously each one did better than the previous one. But I think also the benefit of like Uncharted 4 and the secret sauce was that each one of these, it's kind of like a Fast and the Furious movie. You can watch them in any order. You can play them in any order and it'll probably work. You might be like, oh, so that's where Chloe's from. Oh, she's from this one and that's okay. I thought she just showed up. But you could play any one of them in any order and have a great time. Last of Us Part 2, I think you kind of need to play the first one. It's a big enough deal that most people have, but I wouldn't expect Last of Us Part 2 to outperform the first game. But it's also just the danger with chasing sequels, you know, is that inevitably you're going to start to see a bit of a trail off.
Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that for many reasons, Part 2 already sold less than its predecessor. Let's combine this with another fact. Their next game, Intergalactic, is a new IP, which can be a tougher sell for gamers, even with a great track record at a game studio.
And
in Naughty Dog's case,
donated $20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
My thoughts. Sony didn't kill physical. It stopped chest compressions. We gave up on physical. For everyone that's physical only, there's 10,000 that's never even held a disc. I'm one that
hates that it's happening. Well, first of all, thank you for the 20. That's very generous. As for your specific point, it is true that the market's been shifting this way, but I do think that just because something is niche does not mean that it should be cast aside or like, or put down or abandoned, you know? I really like, what would be an example? What would be an example? I'm trying to think of something that is like roughly fine. Like the vast majority of watches sold nowadays are digital watches. They're like tech watches. They're Apple watches, Samsung smartwatches, whatever. Vast majority of watches sold today in terms of volume are smartwatches, digital watches. Does that mean we should like abandon the art of watchmaking and like Rolexes and Omegas and Tudors and Patek Philippe's and things? Should we abandon those just because they are a tiny percentage of them, or is that still something worth having? I would argue it's something worth having. Now, is it, if it's more expensive, then maybe that makes sense because it is less common, it's less utilized. You don't get the economies of scale when the vast majority of people are buying a different product or different offering. But I think that there still can be a benefit, even if something is niche, to keeping it around. As for the games industry, and this is where the analogy with the watches falls apart, the specific benefit of doing it within the games industry is that physical media has always acted as basically a protection against overstepping on the part of the publishers and the online stores and stuff, because even if things are bad or even if costs are insane, you still always have secondary copies. You can have secondhand copies bought online or traded with friends. It's always a backup, right? That's completely eliminated with this. There will be no other option, you know? There will be no other option than digital, which I really don't like at all. At all. Especially because once that happens, there's no real going back. I mean, once Sony's got the monopoly on their store, that's it. That's it. You know, full stop.
The problem is this new IP does not look enticing to those that did not like their previous game. Intergalactic does not look like a fun time. It does not look like a good time. It looks like a depressing atmosphere like The Last of Us. Naughty Dog and Druckmann have gone on record stating they knew with Uncharted 4 that they could not just create a game that was dreary and sad like The Last of Us. This was majorly important because they knew the depressing atmosphere was hard to sit through, so making Uncharted or another game with that atmosphere would not make sense and would give fatigue to players. Here we can see that problem playing out. For people who did not like The Last of Us 2, nothing shown here is intriguing. Yeah, the idea of gameplay looks less grounded, but guess what? They showed us a 4-minute trailer showcasing their insane graphics and 2 people talking. They cut the trailer the moment gameplay could have been shown. And
I totally agree with this, and this is why I got a little bit of flack in my initial reaction to it. Because my statement and my stance on it was that I think it's just a bad trailer. Okay? The game can be amazing, but a trailer can still be bad. You can have a bad trailer for a really good game or a good movie, and it's just a bad trailer, right? It doesn't tell you anything about it that's like actually helpful. It doesn't set the tone in a way that's like truly intriguing. I watched this trailer and I was like, okay. And that's Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog leaving me underwhelmed with the trailer is shocking. But that's the problem for them, is that I think he raises a great point, which is just that, quite simply, it feels like it's gonna just be more Last of Us misery porn, which a lot of people are just exhausted by at this point. And I hope that's not what it is. But I think what Neil said about Intergalactic, Neil Druckmann on the Heretic Prophet, I believe what he described it as was like, what happens when you put your faith in something and what happens when that gets out of control. Let's see. Talking about the casting. Just very iconic. Troy's in the game. It's been 5 years since I worked with Troy. I've got to do it again. Lots of fun being on stage with him again. We jumped on a Zoom call, showed him parts of the game, told him about it. Druckmann said, he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'd love to do it. So Tony Dalton is there. Maybe a few more actors from season 1 and season 2 of the show. No, this isn't the snippet. Basically, he alluded that it's going to be a game about who you put your faith in, who you put your trust in, and how that affects somebody long term when their beliefs are challenged. I'm guessing it's going to be a total allegory for Israel, and I think it's going to be just a total trudge. At least I'm braced for that. I think it's going to be one of those games where like, oh, here we go. And that's what I'm expecting. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just what I'm prepared for. And I'm not sure if people are really feeling the misery porn 2.0 thing again,
Not shown anything in 1.5 years. They chose to release it and show it off this way. So why would I even be the slightest bit interested? This is their current problem. What if, like me, you did not like the story of The Last of Us 2 or found its gameplay did not expand enough from part 1? What if you're not too interested in Naughty Dog's next title because of that? What if they need to prove to you that you want to play this game? This really seems to be the case for likely millions of old Naughty Dog fans. If they end up selling 4 or 5 million copies, that would mean huge success at any other studio. But at Naughty Dog, that's going to spend more than $220 million on this game over 7 years, that means they may not even break even on Intergalactic. Naughty Dog needs everyone to buy this game, especially people like me and other fans who did not like Part 2. But they're so caught up with showcasing a beautiful technical presentation instead of gameplay that they don't realize this. They tailored that announcement trailer to fans who adore The Last of Us 2 and Naughty Dog. Unfortunately, they need to convince everyone else. They cannot make a game that only appeals to the fans who loved Last of Us 2. Otherwise, they are not going to sell enough copies. The problems for Naughty Dog to...
Yeah, I will say I've been shocked at how hype levels were crazy high for Last of Us Part 2. It feels like there is almost no... There's intrigue and interest in Intergalactic, but it doesn't feel like there's any hype at all. It doesn't feel like it. At least maybe I'm just in a bubble or outside of the bubble. Like I don't know what it is. But it feels like there's just something about it that's not hooking people. And that's why I think they need to come out swinging with the next trailer and with it. But like they have to acknowledge the problem, which is that first presentation, for whatever reason, didn't impress people, didn't connect with people on an emotional level or like truly an excitement level. And they got to figure out why that is. If the entire game is just going to be like that, slow, quiet, mumbly talking conversations in dreary environments, like they're going to be in trouble. They gotta come out and wow people and really reset expectations, I think.
Not stop here either, because even if they do sell enough to break even or profit on Intergalactic, they've still lost a lot of money in other ways. Let's discuss Naughty Dog's large issues concerning their development schedules and time management. Since The Last of Us 2 released in 2020, they've had no new game. And no, I'm not counting remakes or remasters. I'm talking about a brand new game. So, why is this the case? Well, let's talk about their canceled Last of Us multiplayer game that should have released, especially since it was so close to being finished. At the time of cancellation, the multiplayer game was 80% complete and was 7 years into development. Considering the alleged scope of the game and how much Part 2 cost, it's safe to say Naughty Dog lost anywhere from $1 to $200 million on this game. And honestly, that might be conservative. Between this canceled game and Intergalactic, Naughty Dog has not released a game this generation and has likely taken a hit of $400 to $500 million between these projects. So, when I say Intergalactic really needs to sell extraordinarily well, this is why. And to this day, it boggles my mind why Naughty Dog did not just press on and release the multiplayer game, especially with it allegedly being great. They could have made some money back here. Instead, they allowed Bungie to sway things internally and allow the game to be cancelled. This shows a lack of confidence on Naughty Dog's part, because they are by far the #1 studio in PlayStation's eyes. So if Naughty...
Well, to be fair, so it is true that Naughty Dog, well, PlayStation had Bungie come in and review The Last of Us Online. Bungie came in and offered advice, and they advised on a bunch of stuff that would need to change in order for it to be a successful live service game, which is kind of funny considering where Bungie is today. Naughty Dog reviewed the advice and I think created a game plan for what it would take to deliver on that. I'm guessing realistically what it was is that they had a plan for maybe an annual update or something, or maybe twice a year, and Bungie said, nope, you need 3 to 4 updates a year, and you need this stuff like spliced in, you need new shop updates, you need all this stuff. They outlined it all. And I think for PlayStation or for Naughty Dog, they looked at it and were like, okay, God, can't do single player stuff. The whole team needs to be on this if we're going to make that work. They went to Sony and basically explained, hey, if we do this, we are not making anything Last of Us. We're not doing Intergalactic. Like, we're going to be a live service studio forever. And I think that they were not okay with that. And Naughty Dog made it very, very clear, we're going to lose talent if we do this. Like, it could implode the studio. Amazingly enough, they acknowledged that shortly around, right in the time frame we're talking about, Jim Ryan leaves PlayStation, seemingly welcomed to retire. I think probably fired, told you're going to be fired if you don't leave. So he left. And in his place is Herman Holst and I forget his name from Japan. But they decided to basically just give them what they wanted, which was the ability to focus on what they thought was going to be the most remarkable thing. And now I've spoken to one or two, one person with direct knowledge of The Last of Us Online, and then another person that was like outside but familiar with it. The phrasing has always been the game could have been something really cool, but it still had a ways to go. Like it was not ready. So if people are thinking that it was going to launch within like 6 months, no, it seemed like it was still a ways off and it still needed a good amount of work. And it was going to be a massive risk that if it failed would probably kill Naughty Dog in the process. So I think it was a disaster from the beginning, but it was very much a Jim Ryan decision to like have the best studio crank out a live service game for 4 or 5 years. And then when it didn't materialize, it was like, okay, well, never mind. Oops. Oops.
Naughty Dog really wanted to release the game, Bungie's opinion would not have stopped the game from coming out. But it did, which points to problems with the game, or at least Naughty Dog's confidence in it. The schedule issues continue, as Intergalactic should have been out by now. Another huge PlayStation first-party game, Wolverine, is releasing in the fall, so it means at a minimum Intergalactic is releasing in 2027. So,
because I think God of War La Fey is spring of 27, and that would mean Intergalactic is late 27.
7 years without releasing a new game. Do you know why they keep releasing remasters and remakes of The Last of Us and even Uncharted 4? Because that's how studios help get funding for other new projects. Naughty Dog has not released a game for so long that they've needed to re-release way too many of their old games. And among all these re-releases of The Last of Us 1 and 2 and updates to them, they still have not added multiplayer, something that every fan wants. Okay, fine, your huge multiplayer game got cancelled, but if you were to go back and just recreate the old multiplayer 1-to-1, I'm pretty sure me and most fans would suddenly jump back into it, even if we had to pay a little bit for multiplayer. But Naughty Dog can't even do that. And it goes without saying The Last of Us 3 should have been greenlit and announced by now, or some other game. Instead, other than rumors, all Naughty Dog has is Intergalactic. It's a prime example of a horrible development cycle in time management at Naughty Dog. There is a disconnect between what Naughty Dog wants to deliver and what many people want to receive. I did not want a fully fledged multiplayer Last of Us. I wanted a multiplayer mode in the existing game. Now, fans get neither, not even getting multiplayer in any of the remakes or remasters. Many people, not me, wanted a follow-up to The Last of Us 2 since the story seems to end on a less conclusive note than the first game. But Druckmann and Naughty Dog have said they would not be working on it, and if they did, the game would not be out for a long time. So it's highly likely there would be well over a decade between Part 2 and 3 if a Part 3 was ever made. Again, many fans want one thing, yet Naughty Dog is not delivering that. Druckmann stated that Intergalactic will have the deepest gameplay in Naughty Dog's history, yet they showed a trailer with zero gameplay. A lot of fans did not want a trailer for their new game to show off graphics and story. We wanted to see how the game actually plays and what the game really is. It's been
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem I had with it. Is just watching the trailer. It's really just not clear what the game is. Like we're relying on rumors and leaks to insinuate what it could be. But based on that trailer, it's 4 minutes long. The vast majority of it is talking and shaving her head. And that's kind of it. Like at the very end, you see the jump up with the like sword towards the robot. So, okay, melee combat against robots in a misty forested map. Okay. But that's literally all we have to go on. There's just nothing to go with, you know? Like there's nothing more to go with. And this is maybe part of the problem, part of the issue is that there is a huge amount of, I don't know what the right term would be. Skepticism, hesitance, I'm not sure. But there's a huge amount of maybe hesitance for Naughty Dog after The Last of Us Part 2. Because one of the things that like Naughty Dog has done historically that I personally don't like, I get why they do it, but I don't like it, is literally deceptive marketing in order to maintain hype or preserve spoiler content. One of the prime examples is, of course, The Last of Us.
Other than
The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2, where they had the trailer. And you'll remember in this moment, Joel is shown in the trailer. You think I let you do this on your own? But when you play the actual game,
what the hell are you doing here?
I think I'd let you do this on your own.
it's Jesse. It's not Joel. Now that is literally a fake cutscene that they made. Now they did that so that players would see Joel in Seattle at the end of this trailer and go, oh, so Joel survives through there, so that they would have their guard down for what happens in the opening bit of the game, right? I understand why they did that, but I don't like it. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like lying to people, you know, and it's not even just like lying, it's that they made a fake cutscene. Okay, like I understand why they did that. I understand. I have no problem with it. I understand why some people would have no problem with it, because especially if it had worked and not leaked, it would have helped that moment hit way harder when you're like, I totally did not expect that to just happen, right? But the previous time that they did it would be like the original Last of Us, where they said multiple times in the marketing campaign, you only play as Joel. You will only play as Joel. This is a Joel story. Ellie helps in like environmental puzzles and stuff, but you only play as Joel. And then what happens? There's a point in the game where it shifts and you play as Ellie. But they said you only play as Joel, so that moment would be more surprising, right? So there's been a history of like lying, for lack of a better term, to preserve a cool moment. But that's why also there's just this hesitance when people see something and they're like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, I don't know if I want to buy into it yet, because I've been here before, you know? So there's that. There's also like the feeling of kind of exhaustion from Naughty Dog, with the storytelling being really dark and emotionally taxing. So there's hesitance there. But yeah, as I said, I think the game probably ends up being incredible, because typically Naughty Dog, based on their track record, put out incredible stuff. I mean, at some point, if you consistently bat and go up to bat and you hit it out of the park every single time, I think it's fair to assume that the next time you go to the plate, you're probably going to hit it out of the park. You know, that's what Naughty Dog has done for years and years and years. But having said that, that can be true while also acknowledging that the trailer was bad and didn't do much to communicate what the game actually is or excite people, which I think it's pretty clear it didn't really excite people.
It's been over 1.5 years from when it was announced, and we still don't have that answer. My conclusion is simple. Naughty Dog is lost. They're going to take at least 7 years to finish developing one game, all because of their technical obsession. Hell, if the PlayStation 6 releases next year, that means they went the whole PS5 generation without releasing one game. That is insane. Now, I am not saying Naughty Dog is going to close down or that there will be mass layoffs, but right now the studio's future is simply uncertain. They're solely relying on an incredibly expensive new IP to help usher them back into the gaming spotlight. If you're a fan who did not like The Last of Us 2, then nothing they've shown you will convince you otherwise. And even if you are a Naughty Dog fan who did like Part 2, that was a long time ago. Developers cycle in and out of studios, so many of the ones who made Part 2 may not even be there anymore. Sure, Naughty Dog used to be one of the best studios in the industry, but right now, they need to prove they still are.
What's crazy is that the reputation they built through the PS4 generation, there are people... like, by the time, this is crazy. Okay, so when Uncharted 4 came out, 2016, say there was like a 5 or 6 year old, okay? They weren't able to play the game, but they watched maybe their parents play Uncharted 4 on the PS4, okay? They were born in like 2010, 2011. So they're like 5, 6 years old when the game comes out. Those people now, by the time Intergalactic comes out, will be like 17 years old. They will be getting ready to graduate high school and head out into the real world and play some new games. But they don't have like an emotional attachment to Naughty Dog as a studio, because they saw The Last of Us Part 2 launch when they were 9. Probably didn't play that either. Like, the younger generation does not have the same reverence for Naughty Dog that people 5 to 10 years ago had, because, you know, they haven't had any games to build a connection with. You know, they haven't built those relationships with the devs or the teams because they just haven't done anything. Now, I would argue that Sony probably is not actually that pissed about Naughty Dog's performance, because they got a critically acclaimed HBO show season out of it, and they love that. And they got a lot of remasters and remakes out of it, which was some quick and easy money. I think they're pissed that they wasted all that time in the live service game, but I think they blame that more on Jim Ryan. But I do think there's a chance that Naughty Dog probably ends up launching Intergalactic Heretic Prophet as a cross-generational game. It is a PS5 game that then launches with a quick update, just like The Last of Us did, with a quick update to PlayStation 6 when that launches. But I do think that it's a different world than when Naughty Dog was pumping out hit after hit after hit, pumping out The Last of Us, Uncharted, all these games in the same time period. Because earlier when we were looking at that chart of like all of these games, just to be clear, that was Uncharted in 2007. They put out Uncharted, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, The Last of Us, Uncharted 4, and also The Lost Legacy in the time we've been waiting since Uncharted 4. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's outrageous. Like in the time since Uncharted 3, The Last of Us, and Uncharted 4, and I think Lost Legacy as well. They put out those games in the same period of time we've been waiting since The Last of Us Part 2. You can't just take off a half decade to a decade and expect people to still be waiting ready on the same level that they were before. Like, things change. They just do.
I want Naughty Dog to prove me wrong with Intergalactic. Show me deep combat and gameplay. Show me a game I need to get my hands on. Because if I'm being honest, I miss the old Naughty Dog. The one who made good games with fun combat and a fun story. The one who made The Last of Us and moved on from it. The ones who release games in reasonable time periods. I miss what they used to represent. I guess I'm just saying, I miss the old Naughty Dog.
I do too, man. I do too. It's absolutely incredible that we've had to wait so long and we just still have seen like nothing from it, but here we are. Like I said, that was from Major Trenton. I've got the link here. I'm going to share it in chats. I want you guys to go show him some love, give him some subs, give him some love and like and that type of thing. Give him some love. I'll just put it there. But I think it's just, I don't know if it's post-COVID. I don't know. There is a trend across the industry. It's not just Naughty Dog, but there's a trend across the industry of wasted dev time and resources. And this is unfortunately just across the industry, very, very prevalent. The only people like that really seem to be unaffected by it are like Eastern studios out of China, out of Korea, out of Japan. They're able to still pump stuff out like it's nothing. Or Eastern Europe, they're able to do stuff pretty consistently as well. But it's pretty clear there is something functionally broken. And I don't know what their solution is. I don't know what their plan is. It just seems like, I don't know. Why do people hate on Neil? There's a few reasons. Neil is very, as far as I'm aware, he's very politically liberal. So people on like the political right don't like him. He's very outspoken and politically on the left will get you there. People that are on the political left, though, don't really like him because he is from Israel. And that's having any sort of like sympathies for Israel gets you in a lot of trouble with the far left at this point. And then you stack on top of that, there's frustrations with how he handled like The Last of Us as a franchise. People blame him specifically for killing off Joel, spoilers, in pursuit of like some desire for like Oscar bait to be taken seriously. And it was like, it wasn't necessarily, but they did that anyways, just for quick drama points and stuff. So there's a number of things that kind of stack up onto this that make people, I don't know, perturbed by him, I guess. He also created Joel. He did. Well, that's the part that people conveniently forget, is that they're like, but I think there was one YouTube video that went, they did pretty well, maybe 500,000 views or something. I don't remember who made it, but there was one video a while back that did pretty well. That basically described how Neil Druckmann actually was not responsible for anything at Naughty Dog, and it was actually Bruce Straley who did all of the work that made like Uncharted and The Last of Us work. Based on what I know about Naughty Dog, most of the video is just nonsense and not accurate. Most of it is just like, Twitter ramblings and assertions that aren't backed up by any evidence. Bruce Straley did help balance out gameplay and the story with Neil Druckmann. That is absolutely true. Bruce Straley did leave, and once he left, Neil was left to do whatever he wanted. He didn't have any sort of checks and balances. That is absolutely true. But Neil did write the scripts. Neil did write the stories. Like, that is true. Did Bruce say, hey, maybe we should try this scene, maybe we do it this way, and then Neil go, okay, and then he'd rewrite it and rework that. But Neil still wrote it all. People were trying to say that Neil basically didn't do anything and that it was all Bruce, and that since Bruce left after Uncharted 4, that's why Naughty Dog's imploded, which I don't think is fair. Bruce was and is a very good game designer, knows what he's doing, and they clearly worked very well together, but it's not that simple, It's just not that simple. I think what is fair to point out is that it does seem like Neil got very fixated on the HBO show, and that a lot of his energy and effort went there post-COVID and everything. And that probably took away from the function and efficiency of the studio. I think that's probably fair. Yeah. Worst PR now, Todd Howard or Neil? I think it depends on the environment. Like, if Todd shows up at Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards, he's getting a standing ovation. Like, Todd is just that kind of guy. Like, he commands the space, Neil, people would be very excited to see him, but I don't think, in 10, 20 years, he puts out some more Game of the Year winners. I think he could get there, but Todd is like a legend of the industry. Neil is like a very respected director and developer, obviously. Dude, the hair is crazy today. I gotta get this sheared off. It's like crazy. But yeah. I think probably Todd is still top dog. He's doing good. Gamers can be so hateful sometimes, though. I understand not agreeing with game director or their views, but let's not forget some fantastic stuff they create. Not defending Neil, but let's be fair. No, I agree pretty high. And I don't like when people are like, I'm going to evaluate this game. Let me look up the politics and political beliefs of this director or writer or whatever. I think if you're evaluating the product and evaluating the stuff that actually is in question, I think that can hopefully you can actually just evaluate the game for what it is. It's always been weird to me, like you play KCD 2 and people are like, yeah, the game is really good, but I don't like the politics of one of the guys that helped design it, so therefore 6 out of 10. Like, that just feels wrong to me. Same with like Hogwarts Legacy. You can be like, hey, the game is really good, but the lady who wrote it is kind of crazy. 4 out of 10. Like, and if you play it, you're a bad person. I don't like that. I think if you're going to evaluate the game, do that. If you want to evaluate the politics of a game director or writer or whatever, that's an interesting topic. You could do that as a separate thing, but I don't feel like game reviews and things should have like a political weight score. It just doesn't feel appropriate to me. Yeah. And as always, like, if you don't want to support a company or a team or whatever for whatever reason, based on your ethics and your political and religious whatever beliefs, that's like totally fine. It's when people start bashing each other for not living up to their like purity test that gets really cringe to me. Like, imagine there's some like Bible Belt Christian who is like, Pokemon is demonic. Straight up demonic, okay? And then they realize that, hey, there's another Pokemon game coming out. So they start raging against everybody, saying that everybody who plays Pokemon is evil and is going to hell, and they come into your chat and try to get your stuff down. They fake flag it. They go in and they try to copyright strike it. This actually happened with Hogwarts Legacy. People were coming into chat and typing out the N-word in chat, one letter at a time, to try and get the stream taken down because we dared to play Hogwarts Legacy on stream. Like, at what point do you sit up and go, are we the bad guys? Like, as you're typing out the N-word to get a stream taken down for playing a video game, do you pause and go, am I the bad guy? Like, what am I doing? Like, if this guy started raging about Pokemon, like, would it convince you to not play Pokemon?
Pokemon, Pocket Monster, the spiral. And it stands for what? Male fertility. It's supposed to be able to mesmerize and hypnotize its enemies. This character over here is called Mewtwo. Every time that you see Mewtwo, he's in this pose. 3 fingers. It means Hail Satan. Cute little one. Everybody.
It means Hail Satan.
Okay.
I remember a family friend growing up in the Bible Belt. I remember a family friend. We grew up in Texas. Well, a good amount of our childhood was in Texas. And at one point we went to a football game, and the Longhorns, they do this for the Longhorns, you know, like horns, longhorn, steer, like it's what they do. It's like everybody in the crowd starts going, Longhorns, yeah, rooting for the team. They freaked out, like stormed out, left, like it was a big deal because the crowds were effectively all going, Hail Satan, is what they said. They were going Longhorn. That's what this means. But they thought this meant Hail Satan. So they had like mental breakdowns and stormed out of the football arena. I think it was like I don't know if it was a state fair or what. I remember it being way bigger than just a football field. But anyway, they like melted down over it because they thought that meant Hail Satan. And they were like, we're among demons. It was just football fans. So maybe they were onto something, but still, like, it was crazy. It was crazy. Absolutely insane. Corey, good to see you. That dude has some serious Danny McBride vibes. Dude, we looked him up, actually. If anybody in chat remembers his name, let me know. We looked him up. He's still going today. He's like one of those Bible Belt dudes that does the weightlifting. He's a character. He still has the mullet. But he's like lifting for Jesus, and he does it, and he just goes like, it's crazy. But he's got like entire videos. I've tried to find this whole talk. It's like lost media though. If I could find a VHS recording or a DVD recording of this talk, and it's like the full hour, I would buy it and we would watch the whole thing on stream. But I've only ever been able to find this one like 5-minute snippet.
Gotta catch them all. Here's the next character. This is Misty. Look at this. If this was actually clear, you'd see that that's a halter top. It stops right there.
Oh, God.
And she's got short shorts on. She's headstrong and stubborn, constantly arguing with Ash.
Get ready for casual. This isn't even casual sexism. This is just sexism.
Typical woman. God forgive me. All right.
Jesus
Jesse,
Christ.
And the other one's called James. And listen to what it says about them. It says, prepare for trouble, make it double. Jesse and James are an evil gang looking to steal rare Pokemon. In the program, they're also prone to cross-dressing.
Oh, God. No. Sorry, every time I hear this, they're prone to cross-dressing. And then in the distance, no.
They're also prone to cross-dressing. No. And look here. This is Mew over here, M-E-U. He's kind of cute. And this is Mewtwo over here, complete with his satanic salute. And if you notice, that pose is always given with the left hand. 618 children had suffered convulsions, vomiting, irritated eyes, and other symptoms after watching Pokemon.
We did look this up. It's a real article from December of 1997 in Tokyo, where they actually say that the like Pokemon show triggered seizures in hundreds of Japanese children. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but like it is a real story written by CNN in Tokyo that apparently they thought Pokemon was causing seizures in children. Maybe like it was actual epilepsy, but they said it was like hundreds. Like 618 children had suffered convulsions, vomiting, irritated eyes, or other symptoms. Now, I will say irritated eyes, if you watch a show on a bright TV, it's probably going to like hurt your eyes if you're sitting close to TV. Like my eyes are irritated at the end of the day. Does that mean the demons got me? Like, I don't know. But, you know, it's crazy. I'll never understand people who waste their lives working to prevent others from enjoying the things they want to enjoy. What a waste of time. Well, having grown up in these circles, it's always been really interesting to me because a lot of my childhood was spent being told of all the things that were evil or all the things that you can't enjoy. It was the things that would be phrased as like, you know, they're worldly. They're worldly. Don't be of the world, right? So it was just like that we don't like, that music, set it aside. That musician, set it aside. That movie, set it aside. Harry Potter, get rid of it. Pokemon, demonic. And I think what it is, honestly, for a lot of these groups is it's just a matter of like control. For a lot of these guys, like it's just that for his children or his congregation's children, being able to control what they're engaging with is very, very important. And a lot of the people in these roles are control freaks and like malignant narcissists. And so if he sees that his kids are getting like super into Pokemon cards, that's something out of his control. So he finds a reason to like get rid of it, you know, to cast it aside. It's not that he's bothered his kids are having fun doing something other than going to church. It's that he found that the devil's inside it, you know. There's always something. And I think that there's also this desire to be, there is like a persecution complex, and I saw it a lot growing up, where like there certainly is there, or at least there was, this desire to be different. And so for a lot of it, it was like if Harry Potter was huge at the time, which growing up around when I was growing up, it was massive. Like the movies were coming out, the books were coming out, it was huge. And like being part of that would be way more fun than being on the outside. But if you're on the inside part of it, you can't, like, you're not being a victim, you're not being persecuted, right? And a lot of these belief systems are tied up in the idea that you are going to be persecuted for your beliefs. So people end up putting themselves in situations where they're on the outside of as many groups or as many trends as possible so that they can say, I'm persecuted. You know, it's like you're all of your friends come over for a party. You lock yourself outside, throw the key over the neighbor's fence and go, oh, I'm stuck again. They locked me out. Like, and you start having a mental breakdown that you're like, I can never enjoy parties. This is my lot in life. It's like, you did that to yourself, my friend. That was you. You did that. But like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I have a family friend, and you might know people like this. She is a little bit of a drama queen, just a little bit. There's always something wrong. You know, the types of people where there's always something wrong. But she will like basically self-sabotage. So like she loves to be the one with the problem. She loves to be kind of like the victim in a situation where everybody's like doting on her, checking on her, making sure she's okay. And so she will not eat for like a day. If you're doing something like a road trip or a family gathering or something, she will not eat. She will not drink. And then later in the afternoon, she's like got low blood sugar and she's lightheaded because she's dehydrated. And then she's like complaining about it. And it's like, at some point, I'm sorry, I don't feel that bad for you. Like, you did this to yourself. It's the same kind of thing that's going on here, I think, where it's like the desire to be different, the desire to be on the outside and to be a persecuted victim leads to situations where they just end up making their own lives miserable and missing out on amazing things in this desire to be what they think they should be, which is like persecuted, you know? Luke, be nicer to your relatives. When she eats lunch, I'll be nicer, okay?
They don't know why it happened. Remember I said that they get their energy through energy balls. Cute little Pikachu, and he's being energized by an energy ball. And now you notice...
Yeah, if you think this is entertaining, go watch Righteous Gemstones, the show. It's so good. It's so good. Righteous Gemstones, phenomenal. Uncle Baby Billy. It's fantastic. It's such a good show. It's so funny and outrageous. But it's a show. Danny McBride is in it, playing a mega pastor alongside Walton Goggins is in it. The ghoul from the Fallout show, he's in it. And so is John Goodman and a bunch of other amazingly talented actors. But yeah, go watch Righteous Gemstones. It's so good.
He's not quite so cute anymore, and his little satanic tail is really erect. They actually
I'm sorry. His little satanic tail is very erect.
you notice he's not quite so cute anymore, and his little satanic tail is really erect. They actually show the energy balls that is used to make these monsters bigger and better. Look at the yellow.
More erect.
What do you see? Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Look here. All-seeing eye.
Oh my God.
Up here is the clenched fist, symbol for rebellion, anarchy.
Yep.
Powerful witchcraft symbol where my finger is.
Don't
Down
touch
here
it.
is another powerful witchcraft symbol, and down at the bottom.
You mean the leaf? The leaf is a very powerful witchcraft symbol.
Bottom here, this blue ball down in here is the symbol for energy of water.
Oh.
Earth, wind, and fire, the three basic elements of all witchcraft.
Make good music though. I gotta give him that.
There's a war going on right now for the children because Satan wants them really bad. Gotta catch them all. Gotta get them while they're young. Got to induct satanic doctrine. For me and my family, we are going to serve the Lord. Not in the ways of these Pokemon, not in the ways of witchcraft or Satan worship. Look at this. Pokemon Psychic Surprise. Look at this. This creature right here is called Haunter. Little Pikachu down here, he's crying his eyes out. He's not cute, and even Ash doesn't look cute anymore. Those energy balls represent that the Pokemon get their power by supernatural occult ability. Abracadabra. The Kadabra character has a pentagram on his forehead.
Okay.
And he has SSS across his chest. Satan's solemn servant. The Kadabra character is always pictured on the card with his left hand giving the satanic salute. Look at this. Quebec teen stabbed at school over Pokemon cards. This was in Montreal. Look at this.
Classic
The
Montreal.
woman teacher noticed that they were paying more attention to Pokemon than they were her. So she waited for the deck to get back to this young man, and then she walked over and grabbed that deck out of his hand. He got up and struck her dead in the face with his fists. This stuff is nothing more than unadulterated witchcraft.
There's that one story of like the kid that like I don't remember if he killed his teacher or like just beat her up really badly. There's a story of a kid who beat up his teacher because she tried to take his Switch, his Nintendo Switch, away like during class. And it's like there's been other stories of kids that have mental breakdowns over like baseball cards, over that. Like sometimes kids just lose their minds. It's not necessarily demonic, or maybe he would probably say the Switch is demonic. So I guess he's got me there.
And I have to wonder sometime when a grade school child is going to do what the Weeping Bell Razor Leaf Pokemon card says. It says this: it spits out poison powder to immobilize the enemy and then finishes the enemy with a spray of acid. Remember that the whole goal in all of these role-playing games, and especially in Pokemon, is to become the master.
Not the submissive. That's different. Dude, I really want to find this full video. I think it'd be so cool. Prophecy Club, I think is what they call it. Full video. It's from Topeka, Kansas. Yeah, look at this. Wake up, America. Prophecy Club provides information with prophetic warning messages to win souls, to call people to repentance. I wonder if we'd be able to find like the original. What? Dude, they do like full UFO series. Dude, this is crazy. Oh, with like all AI generated thumbnails and stuff. Bro, there's so much. I saw the dollar dead. What does that even mean? Dude, there's so much. This is like my childhood all over again. Oh, man. If I search Danny McBride, I'll be able to find it. Maybe if I just search Pokemon. The occult living in your room. Stephen Dollins. Is this it? It is. Look at Steven. Look at Steven. He's on Facebook, dude. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. He is self-employed, working for the Lord. Self-employed. Sharing photos of just angry face reactions. It's just, imagine being this angry about everything. Always. Like, it's just incredible. Okay, well, fam, I may have to, for science, I may have to try and find this. Oh my god, dude. He even has a rant in here about Teletubbies. These devices initiate our children into the world of the occult by making evil appear to be cute, such as Teletubbies. We might have to do this. We might have to do. Each talk is 2.5 hours long, man. Each one. There's 2 of them, and they're 2.5 hours long each. I think we just found some members-only content, my friends. I think you're right. The Teletubbies are demonic. That is not one I ever would have thought. He's on Twitter, though. Oh, he's on Twitter. This is right. I started following him. That's right. He's a former high priest in the Church of Satan, saved by Christ. Ordained prophet. Grandson was playing baseball game on PlayStation. I hear someone spelling out magic. It's this song. Why is this in a game about baseball? Baseball. No more. Hold on, I'm going to mute. What is this song? Kula Shaker Natural Magic. Oh, good heavens. Crashed out over this. Dude, maybe I'll DM him, see if he wants to like hop on stream and talk. That could be some content. Wouldn't that be content? Wouldn't that be funny? Could that be engaging? Just like, help me understand how this is demonic. I want to know. I want to know. Longer video on YouTube, Satanism in Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Hold on. Satanism in Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Oh, this is 35 minutes of it.
Now, a lot of things come over from the Orient. A lot of things come over from the Orient. And some things have a big impact on us and some things don't. I can't think.
I'm glad we did this. So this is the full, like, or this is 35 minutes going through like Magic the Gathering as well.
This is Cabal Ghoul. Now, you notice that there's counters up here. In other words, this stands for 2 points. Okay. And it says Cabal Ghoul. Now, in case you don't know what a ghoul is, it's a dead, rotting, decaying thing that's been in the ground and magically summoned back to life. So you have a walking dead thing, and that's what a ghoul is. And in this particular thing, it says, at the end of each turn, put a 1+1 counter on Cabal Ghoul for each other creature that died during the turn and was not regenerated. Okay. In other words, you have cards that'll actually keep your character alive for a certain amount of time.
Sure.
Here's another interesting card. Because it's called the All Hallows Eve card.
Okay.
Again, this is all in Magic. Magic the Gathering. By the way, there was a news clip that I read about 2 weeks ago
No.
that spoke of a young boy in Maine. I don't remember what the town was, but it was in Maine. And he came home one day and asked his mother about Magic the Gathering and said that the teacher had decided to use Magic the Gathering, this card game, as a new and exciting way to teach mathematics in school, in their class.
Okay, that's cool.
And they even formed what was called a magic club, and that all the kids were part of this magic club. Well, the mother said, well, you're not going to become a part of that. You're not going to be in that. But one of the kids had given him one of the cards, and that card he showed to his mother, and that card was called Necromancer. And on that card, it showed spiritual beings actually being risen up out of the ground, out of their grave. And then he asked his mother, what does summon mean? And she said, why do you ask that? And she said, he told her, he said, because all the kids on recess go outside on the school grounds, pick up huge sticks, wave them in the air, and say, spirits, enter me.
Sorry, this is serious. This is serious. It's not funny. The children are asking the demons to enter them. Okay. It's okay to ask Jesus to enter you. You fill me up, Lord. You can do that. Come inside me until I'm oozing with your love. That's fine. But using sticks in the house of the Lord? Dude, the listen to the chatter, to the gnashing of teeth in the background. Listen, you can just barely hear it. I'll crank the audio, but you can hear the crowd going, oh my God.
Wave them in the air and say, spirits, enter me. True. This is All Hallows Eve. Again, 2 points symbolized by 2 skulls. Here's your demonic black cat. I guess it's a black cat. I've never seen anything look like that. There's your demon in the middle. Jack-o'-lantern, full moon, and it says this card is called sorcery. Sorcery comes from the Greek word pharmakeia. It's where we get the word pharmaceutical. In occultism, it's witchcraft through drugs, sorcery. And it says put 2 counters on this card, remove a counter during your upkeep, and when you remove the last counter from All Hallows Eve, all players take all creatures from their graveyards and put them directly into play. Okay. Treat these creatures as though they were just summoned. You choose what order they come into play.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a good card. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Knowing the game, that's why this is so stupid. Like, like when you know the game, it's just like, okay, yeah, no, play this. But like, it's so like everything is a secret coded message. Like again, this is why these things are so insane to me. Is because it's like, just imagine, if you dare, living your life where like literally everything has a secret coded message that is some sort of demonic insinuation or spell or something. It's got to be miserable and so exhausting. Like they put themselves in a prison of their own making mentally, where like you can't do anything. You can't enjoy playing a game on PlayStation when that music pops up. You can't enjoy going to the movies because they're all satanic. You can't watch freaking Teletubbies. Like, it's crazy. But they get so deep down this rabbit hole that they end up self-isolating so much that you can't do anything. It's crazy. It's crazy. Full 2.5 hour, The Occult Living Room, Stephen Dollins, The Prophecy, 5th one in the list. Oh, did you find it? Did you find it? Oh, interesting.
Remember that again, this is a role-playing game.
Some of us like role play, sir.
This is called The Magician. I wonder why. Here you see the man kneeling, and look.
Dude, somebody did upload. You're right. Somebody did upload the full thing. Look at this. Oh my God. Hold on, where'd it go? Where'd I put the, where's chat? There it is. Yeah, look at this. The occult in your living room.
Didn't know he did it for me. And so,
Sharing his testimony.
and that this would take place 1999. And if it's not stopped by the year 2000, life as we know it ends. Now, here's the girl.
You gotta love
and
doomsday
there's
stuff
people
from the
after
90s.
her, and she can't figure out why. They're trying to kidnap her. Every place she turns around, they're trying to grab her. And now comes Arnold into the picture.
Oh no.
And Arnold is a washed
Arnold is in this? He's part of this?
up, alcoholic, depressed cop who lost his wife and his daughter in a break-in. Two guys broke in and actually raped and killed his daughter and his wife. And now he's depressed to the point where at one point he even puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger, and Arnold doesn't have any luck, it doesn't go off. And now Arnold is assigned to protect this girl. He doesn't know why. And now the priests, in the middle of the movie, the priests are trying to tell him what's going on, and he's saying that they're crazy, he doesn't believe any of it and all this. And at one point he's in his apartment, and all of a sudden he gets in confrontation with Satan, the man who's incarnated into them. And he looks at him, and Satan shows him a vision of his wife and his daughter the way they used to be, and says, I can give all that back to you, all you need to do is give up the girl. And bless Arnold. I mean, he almost gives in, but he gets that little hero, attitude. And now he says no, and now he's at war with the Prince of Darkness. And at one point in the movie, Arnold is seen. I mean, he's just loaded.
Dude, this would be such an acid trip to try to listen to the full 2.5 hours, because it's just all every symbol, every little thing, every necklace. The Egyptians are part of it too. Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. It's all connected, man. It's all connected. Oh, it's just absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah, this shit is so hilarious and so obviously influenced the Gemstones. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that this was like directly influencing Righteous Gemstones. Righteous Gemstones. Again, if you guys have not seen Righteous Gemstones, it's made by Danny McBride. He writes most of it, but it is a show where they play as like mega church pastors that do a lot of this same nonsense, and it's very funny. It's very funny and very good. Just totally outrageous. Like, come on. Come on. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I love it dearly. It's really good. And Uncle Baby Billy is in it too. Walton Goggins, Uncle Baby Billy. Anyway, there you go. There you go. I could go down that rabbit hole all day long, and I almost did. Words right out of my mouth. Yeah, pretty high. Lightning bolt right down my sleeve. Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Bible Bonkers, where Jesus has the highest score. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, there you go. You didn't know that Teletubbies were satanic? Well, now you do. Now you do. We'll have to dig into that one. That's probably part 2, but my God. I go, rabbit holes are demonic? Yeah, what I want to know is why you're even talking about them. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. You sure did watch it, hypocrite, like the rest of these charlatans. Well, it's the same thing where it's like he has a lot of Pokemon cards for someone who thinks they're demonic. Like he has a lot of this stuff. It's often the ones who doth protest too much that you got to pay extra attention to. It's like the same guys that are the most like anti-gay marriage, and then they end up being closeted and they get caught in a sting hiring a prostitute. That's how it usually works. What will you name this clip? I have no idea. I will let Jacob and Trevor figure out if they want to clip it. I talk about this every like 6 months. This comes up again in my recommended feed. I watch it for like an hour, go down the rabbit hole all over again, and then we end up back here. So there you go. Rebuke Pokemon from your soul. It's all Trevor. Yeah. Call it truth. Oh, just truth. It's the full title is just all caps. Truth. Yeah. I've changed my mind. Yeah. I've been convinced. Dude, it's all fun and games and like it's silly and it makes you laugh until you go to like, these websites where you see like the clouds of heaven and UFO abductions. Like, these are real. UFOs, part of Satan's plan to replace God with his own Antichrist. History of Nazi UFOs and why they did not win the war with this technology. Like, they think that Ezekiel saw a UFO. Like, these are real people that can vote and like do a lot. That's kind of scary, is it not? You know, like there are people in very high positions of government that would see most of this and go, mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy, but that's just where we are. It's important to be aware of it because, again, if you were not born in these circles or raised in the circles and you don't know what some of the more extremist wings of these groups believe in, you just have no idea. You're not familiar with it. But I'm telling you, like, some of this stuff is absolutely wild. It's craziness. But anyway, I'm going to call it there, my friends. Went down quite a rabbit hole with that one. Sorry, not sorry. I am going to call it there. I've got some chores and stuff I got to knock out. I love you all desperately and dearly. Thank you for hanging out with me. Again, a different kind of stream than we normally do. We did 2 hours of gameplay for the sponsored stream, and then we hung out here and we got to talk about some crazy stuff. It was a good time. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's always wonderful. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and burn your Pokemon cards. Sounds like is probably the most immediate thing. And put up filters on YouTube and all of your social media for Teletubbies. Don't let them get their soft hooks in. They'll start singing to you, and before you know it, you're worshiping Satan. That's how it works, man. That's how it works. Damn, I just joined. Then you're probably thoroughly confused with my outro just now. What? Anyway, much love, everybody. I will see you again very, very soon. Hugs and kisses, fam. Stay safe. Talk soon. Have a great weekend. Bye. Mwah.